Hello again. We're looking at a ship again, and I'm just looking at a few things here, and hopefully this will be right quick. I don't know if you guys can see the little white dots on the ship. This little animation running. Godot does any property is animated in Godot, which is kind of neat. So I can animate the visibility of those little lights. Um, they're also emissive, but there's not a whole lot of a way for me to show just how emissive they are, but they're actually giving off light. So if we went somewhere that needed light, it might actually react if they were close enough, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure anything I can get to that would see the light the way that we want it. I actually haven't tried this yet, so you have to bear with me. That's another thing that is new. Um, the engine effects. I can't tell how close to that rock I am. Let's see if I can go in it, but oh, look at that. I'm too far. Yeah, this is actually pretty hard without other view modes. Okay, let's actually just do this. I can't tell. Bah, moving too quick. There's no way for me to tell if my little lights are actually lighting up the rock. Oh well. Anyhow, I don't know if you've noticed by now. You probably have. The thrusters are relative to how much throttle I put in. So they will even go to reverse for a little bit, but I haven't really done the full color change effect for reverse thrust. We're getting a good look of at the space junk. I've also changed the nebulas. They now actually emit a bit of light, a little bit better. Trying some different textures on them. Every once in a while you're going to see a twinkle from space junk because it is reflective. Some of them are reflective. And depending on which space junk it is, they can be pretty big. Oh, space brakes. Yeah, that's a big one. So, yeah. Also, I've put on a little bit of the bloom in the camera options for the full screen shaders and whatnot. One of the things you can have on is a bit of bloom, and it does look a little bit nicer. I don't know if you guys are picking up the bloom, but it's there. So we've got our space junk, we've got our nebulas, but more importantly for this update, we've got those little navigation lights. I'm going to see if I can make the ship go in a way that you'll get up close to them. There we go. So there's 4 navigation lights. I haven't colored them yet, but they're there. They could be bigger. They're really easy to do. They all fire out the same way. They have the same animation controller, so anything I make a child of that will hide and pulse with the animation. There's kind of a parent target that the animation is looking at. So as long as whatever it is a child, it's gonna behave the same as the parent. And if the parent is told to be visible and not, it's really easy. You can add all the animation lights you want. Strobes. I could set up multiple copies of the animation, and then making it a little bit of asynchronous flashing. Not too sure about that. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm hoping you guys can see this. When I set the purple nebula to blue, or sorry, to emit, it actually shows a little better versus the background. Also, they show in front of the planets now properly because they're emissive. Testing one, that one. Where's the other one? There's another planet here somewhere. 1, 2, moon, planet. Oh, there's another one. It's kind of an Earth-like planet. The blue is a little bit a different color because, yeah, I'm not sure where I made that one, or if I pulled it as a sample. There's couple random texture makers that I've used over the years, and I've made a bunch of bulk textures for different purposes. And one of the things that you can do with some old Photoshop filters that I run in paint.net is you can spherize a texture, and that might have been one of them. I'm not sure where I grabbed that one from, but I've made some space games and messed around with them for a while, so I've got a mishmash of planets. I think that's made from a program. That one we're looking right at is an old render from a Photoshop plugin called Lunar Cell, and I believe the boys at Flaming Pear made that, or at least that's the company. And I'm saying boys, it could be ladies, so I apologize in advance. But yeah, so this is state of things tonight. Motion is a little smoother. Boom. There we go. I need to maybe give it a little bit of a boosted, you can get further ahead effect when this thrust is on. You see there, boom. There it goes. We just idle, and then there we go. So that's just a tiny little bit of code. It's not the best code. I've probably even got it wrong, but that's it. And if the thrust stops, it slowly cools off. There's still a little bit of issues with the rendering of where the engines are. The idle amount is still a bit high. But it does let you know if you've got a little bit of forward motion on. Because I would say right now, we might have a little bit of forward motion. Oh, just tiny. Now we got some forward motion. Now the one thing I don't have rendering is the there is I'm trying to think of the name of it. Oh, the RCS thrusters. They are not active right now. There's a big chunk of whatever. That's a whole ship over there. Let's see if we can see any of these weird chunks. Ooh, that one's got red on it. That's the red hook. What's this one? The looks like an old flight seat kind of thing, but flight seat slash coffee maker. Yeah, there's a good assortment of junk floating out here. Hopefully, oh, the other thing I wanted to work on is making, if you look right now, the flame is 100% relative to the ship. If you're seeing any what looks like curve in the flame, that's actually an optical illusion. It's because that's what you, I hate to put it this way, because you want to sort of see it is why you're seeing it. But if you were to actually put a ruler up, you'd find that the flames leaving that engine are perfectly straight. So yeah, and those thrust discs are a bit big. I'm gonna have to bring them down in, but yep, I'm gonna try and work about making a fluid tail when it's at full thrust like that, so when you fly around, the actual tail will change shape with the path that you took. I do have a library for doing that, but it can be a little bit costly if you've got a bunch of ships using it. This right here is the cheapest way. It just renders a long, thin, alpha blended, or actually additive blended tail. So yeah, again, I've probably let this go a little bit too long because hopefully you guys aren't getting spun around too much here. To me, this is just like flying a model aircraft, so I could do this all day. And hopefully pretty soon we will have some turbo boosts, a little bit of HUD, and some weapons, and then I have to start thinking about, oh, we're drifting down, so let's put a little bit of up RCS. Then I got to look at maybe supporting some other joysticks, so some of you guys with the non-Microsoft joysticks can enjoy. And then keyboard and mouse control, because, well, this would lend itself well to keyboard and mouse. And then there's also the request of first-person cockpit view, so I might make a default cockpit or a default HUD for when you're in the cockpit. and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's our 2 levels of space junk. The small stuff like this thing here. I can get near. Oop, no, I can't. I overshot it. Brah. Oh, yep, there it is. Small junk, big junk, junk of all types. Space junk. And amazingly enough, they're just 2D flat sprites, but because they have a normal map and there's lots of lighting in the scene, they actually look like they're 3D. So I'm hoping that's not breaking the illusion for too many people. The next system is to make somewhat like that space junk, but to be little space rocks. So more space junk. I think I've hit a limit of 65,000 sprites. If I have 65,000 bits of space debris, whatever it is, I start to get a little bit of a stutter in how the physics is processed, or the video. I'm not sure which. I'd have to run the profiler. But I'm going to hard limit that, let's say 30,000 the cap, to keep everything smooth, because there's going to be a lot of other stuff going on. And I don't know if it's video card, if it's CPU yet, but I'm using a Ryzen 5 2600 and 1050 Ti. So GTX 1050 Ti. Yeah. And yeah, it shouldn't be too bad to have that many things. Again, for those that wondered, nowadays systems, the poly count of an actual thing isn't a great deal of a problem. It's more so the number of objects. So like I was saying, the 65,000 sprites, it doesn't matter so much the poly count of the individual sprite a whole hell of a lot. It is, however, the 65,000 tracked objects that's the issue. Because that's 65,000 things that need to know where they are, how they're turning, doing the normals, and all that. They share common texture, so it's not even texture memory. The video memory is very... I haven't checked, but I'm not using very much video RAM. Ooh, somewhere there's a big piece of space junk. Yeah, right there. The space junk does actually move a little bit if I want it to. I can set the movement and rotation. And I could even make it move tangentially, but the problem is the tangential movement I don't think I can randomize, so it would end up looking like a giant swirl around a point, which could be cool later, but I haven't seen that piece of space junk in a while. Yep, space junk. Anyhow, if you stuck with me this long, that's awesome. You must really love this kind of stuff. And anyhow, that's the flames, and that's the navigation lights. Again, they could be any color. And well, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. And if you're here this long, you probably do like it. Anyhow, goodbye. Thanks.